Hello and welcome to the first ever broadcast of Truth and Dare, my friends. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, several different channels all at once. For those of you who are joining in on YouTube, the Dr. Kelly Tanner channel will be live for the next episode. But for right now, we are joining in on the Dental Handoff podcast. So I'm just waiting for everyone to hop on for a moment. It is an honor to be with you guys here this evening. And this has been a journey, as I believe that all of us go through in our lives, to understand where we come to by what we come through and into. And in my life, I have grown up, and I'll tell a little bit of my story on this show. And that's what some of this is. And then I bring on amazing guests, but grew up in a very small town and grew up in a very different way than what I am now, which is a story of many of you all. And I realized that I had a lot of limiting beliefs. And the more I mentored and the more I coached, I realized that the largest breakthroughs that people had is when they challenged themselves and they challenged their beliefs that they had about themselves, and they discovered the real truth through the lived truth in themselves. And they dared to go outside of their comfort zone. So that's how I came up with the title of the show, Truth and Dare. And we all create these innate sort of set points for ourselves to say, oh, this is true for me. This is not true for me. And according to neuroscience, the subconscious mind doesn't go to work to give you ideas about how to create new outcomes until you decide to jump through on the other side and say, okay, this is it. I've had it. And then the ideas and the inspiration and the actions, they begin to flow. But it all starts with a decision that we make. But then backing up one other step, it's about discerning and understanding that we were never meant to be in that belief where we were before anyway. And so what this can feel like for so many people is anxiety. It can feel like depression. It can feel like burnout. It can feel like you feel small, like you're comparing, that you're never good enough, that your worthiness is there. You never feel like you can step into and step through into that next thing. So in all of this and realizing and seeing this and experiencing it for myself, I said, we need to have a new narrative about what's true and what's possible. And what about if people saw something in themselves and then dared themselves to say, you know what, I'm just going to jump through this and just feel my way through it. Instead of letting my head get in my way, that I'm going to feel my way through it. Because when we begin to believe that new narrative, we start to question the beliefs that have been assigned to us already. What we were told to do, how to act. I can tell you from growing up in a very small town in Virginia, Chester, Virginia, some of you all may be on here, that it was a very different town. And it was definitely different than where I live and in the world that I live in today. The role of women back when I was growing up, my father's side of the family was from a little town outside of North Carolina, Broad Necks, and the women had their role. My dad traveled a lot when I was a child to go find work. He was an iron worker and a boiler maker. And my mother was an executive secretary. You know, my dad finished the 10th grade and went back to get his GED. And so through this dynamic, through this sort of duality of what I saw my parents were living and what I was feeling was true for me, there was always some type of internal conflict. Now, I grew up very much outside, digging in the ponds, digging in water, looking at things that were living in water, studying trees, and feeling connected. So I almost felt that while I was centered, while I was grounded, I felt called that there was something else in this life. I felt as a 12-year-old girl sitting out on my parents' land out in the middle of my front yard. I looked up at the sky and I just knew that there was something else, that I was meant to do something else in this world. So, yes, I went on to dig into the science and I went back to get my PhD, and I'm a dental hygienist. And many of you all know that I have another podcast called The Dental Handoff, where we talk about technology, communications, and leadership, which is all central and core to my heart. But I thought, let me tell my lived experiences through other people. Let's tell the story about how other people have broken outside of the boundaries that were set points for themselves because they didn't know that they could, because other people told them that they could or they couldn't. And I want you all to hear and experience some of these lived experiences versus just the truths that we're told. Now, I also teach at Christopher Newport University in the President's Leadership Program. And what I noticed when I started teaching there 3.5, 4 years ago is that the students I was teaching, they were 18 and 19 years old. I think a few of them were 17 because they graduated high school early. But when we talk about in the leadership program, some of their beliefs and how they are adapting and identifying their social identity and who they are, they realize through this reflective activity and through all these activities that they didn't identify how their parents did or how their household was, that they were starting to think of things differently. And I think that's what we're seeing in the generation. And we are seeing that the world is being called to break out of and into something else. So I thought, again, it was a nudge for me. And I'm following my breakthrough here and sharing these stories, my stories with you, because we're only as strong as the stories that we tell ourselves, right? It's only through that story that we have lived through to say, I remember when I got to do that. And each of us has our own journey. So fast forward to where I am now into this realm of, yes, I'm very much in a scientific nature and basis, of course, but then I am more into who is Kelly? Who was Kelly meant to be? And I feel like I arrived at that point where I really started cracking open the egg when I was around 35, when there was like, wait a minute, that's not true for me. That's not true for me either. And neither is that. So what was true were those things that I was like, I don't have to do that. I don't even know why I'm even still doing that. It's this subconscious programming that goes on within ourselves. And those constraints become restraints that become layered upon ourselves. And again, we wonder why there's depression, while there's mental illness, why there's burnout. And from freeing our minds and freeing our beliefs, we're able to change that narrative. And we're able to understand that there are no limits on our lives and what we can do, right? And what I say is there's no limit to what we can have and no reason to expect anything else. So I get to share with you, and it is an honor that I get to share with you, friends, people who I've come to know, people who are newer to me, who have arrived, who I have interviewed to say, yeah, let's tell that story, to inspire you, to give you that courage, to understand that all of us have been through something and to something in our lives. And spoiler alert, it really never changes. It never changes because we keep evolving. So as we go, as we grow, and as we go through the show too, get to hear stories. I'm going to talk with our guests. And at the end, I'm going to dare you to think a little bit differently. So that's why we have come to this story of truth and dare. Truth and dare. Tonight, My first guest, and by the way, too, I can see all of your comments that are coming in live now, and some of those will be shared live. If you guys want to do that and participate, it's going to be a lot of fun. I get to share my first guest, who is Heidi Dubois. And Heidi, I'm going to bring you up. Hi, my friend.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here, Kelly. And wow, so true. So inspirational, as always.
Oh my gosh. So Heidi and she's a dental hygienist as well. And what I know for sure, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's no chance. Everything is by design. Everything in this life is a divine appointment. And on this channel, on this show, we get to speak our truths. Okay. And so this is where all of the armor comes off. This is where we have real conversations that maybe you align with, maybe you don't, and that's okay. But I think it's important that we hold space for each other, right, Heidi?
Absolutely. And Kelly, something you said that resonated with, well, so much of what you say resonates with me. But one of the biggest things I'm going to challenge everybody today, I'm going to dare everybody today, is to doubt the doubt. When you hear us talk about these stories and you hear Kelly and I interact, and my story is maybe unique to some of you, but doubt the doubt. Never get locked in to where you think you have to be by a label, by just, I'm a dental hygienist, I'm a mom, I'm a secretary, I'm a lawyer, whatever it is that you are, that doesn't define who you are. Doubt the doubt and move forward into where life can take you. So I'm excited to share. I'm excited to open up. And some of you are going to think, woo. And some of you are going to be like, yeah. So just open your mind and open your heart to infinite possibilities.
Little Joe Dispenza there.
Oh, yeah. Can't help myself.
We are going to talk about some things. And so where a lot of this came from is over the years, I realized that with people who had that grit, who had that belief and that faith, that a lot of us had these internal belief systems that we didn't share. Some of us call it God, some of us call it Jesus, some of us call it Buddha, call it universe. I think that at the center of it, there's a God that we all believe in, align with, right, in our lives. Some people don't. But what I understood and what I didn't hear is that we didn't talk about it more openly until we got in these little quiet rooms and we talked to each other about it. Right. And it's like, why are we being so secret about this? This is the good stuff, man. And so when Heidi and I aligned, we started talking about so many things. And by hearing Heidi's journey and story, you'll understand about why she and I connected. It was a divine appointment, as are all of our friendships. But we met through a company that I was consulting with. And Heidi showed up on my radar and we got to work together. And I was like, you're really a cool chick. You're really a cool chick. Tell me more.
Ditto.
Because and that's how you guys, our lives work with each other, right? And we are like that. We attract who we are. So
your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yes. And so Heidi, when you and I started talking, it was about dental, and I think we were just talking about small talk, but there was something intuitive in me that said, I think she's like me. I think that she has beliefs and she leans into things that other people may not see. It's that kind of like that third eye that opens up that you're seeing. So tell us about your journey. You started off very similar in terms of being a dental hygienist, and you guys.
I'm going to even go back a little further than that, Kelly, if you don't mind.
Back when you were a zygote.
Just as I think about where we are and how we get to where we are going, and we never really arrive. It's the journey that is all about everything. But I think if I had to sit here and tell you my biggest superpower is adaptability. And I learned at a very young age that my journey was my journey. And, I have made choices in my life that were judged. People judged me. People didn't understand me, but it was none ya business. I did what I had to do because it's who I am. I'm a survivor. So when I talk about the adaptability and the non-staying in a label, at a very early age, my parents were divorced. This was back in the late 60s, early 70s. I was one of the very first children in my entire school district to have divorced parents.
Hmm.
And my mother said to me, this will either define you or it won't, because it's my journey, not yours. And from that moment on, the pivot happened for me. And if any of you remember the episode in Friends where Ross was carrying a couch up and yelling, pivot, 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 I think that's how my whole life has been. So yes, I did become a dental hygienist. And the truth is, Kelly, and I don't think I've ever shared this with you, I had to do a book report on what I wanted to be when I grew up. And the thinnest book on the bookshelf in the library was on the dental hygienist. And I did the book report on that. And I thought, oh, I was very good in science. I really did. I decided that's what I was going to do. And I went to dental hygiene school, then applied to dental school 3 times and got in and never went, because it just, I don't know why, that fear kept me from doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And the story I told myself that I just could be a dental hygienist and I was just going to be a wife and then I was just going to be a mom, when that all imploded. And I had a great hygiene career, 20 years in a very good periodontal practice. I loved what I did. I knew there was more. There was something in my gut that kept saying, this is not the life I want to lead. I've got to be bigger than this. I could be better than this. There's more out there. And I didn't know where to go. And I'm sure many of you can't decide or even open your mind to what your passion is. How do we live our passion in a day-to-day thing, a day-to-day basis, really? And I was very lucky, or not lucky, because I sort of created this. And when you get really clear in what you're looking for, your vision will pull you in. If you're clear on your vision, you're going to be pulled into what's coming next for you.
Yeah.
I went through a very brutal divorce, a single mom, and was trying to figure out what was going to be next for me. And I sat down with what I call the intention, attention, no tension philosophy. And basically what that means is you create an intention for yourself. My intention was I was going to educate my children. They were not going to suffer from my divorce or my marriage. And then I was going to put my attention on what I wanted my career to look like. What was coming in for me? What was I going to manifest or bring in to the vision of what I was going to do next? And then the no tension meant I had zero attachment. I absolutely was not going to attach how it was going to come, but I knew it was coming. And by luck, by choice, by design, I started my speaking career, and I was out lecturing and realizing there was a gap in what was happening in dentistry with implants, dental implants. And this is back in the 90s. So there weren't a lot of dental implant companies for the dental people on here. And I created a consulting company. I was doing dental hygiene. I was told by my boss, just like I was told by my ex-husband, you can't do this. You can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to make it. And again, those limiting beliefs, I refused. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Nobody was going to tell me I can't. And I was lucky enough to create this consulting company working for implant companies, and they all started offering me a job. And I made the decision to leave clinical hygiene and sell dental implants and work in practice growth. And I realized I had a really deep, my mess became my message, is basically what it was. And I was crawling out, finally starting to make it for myself, but I knew there was more. I didn't know what it was going to be. I enjoyed my time working in practices and coaching people. And I am a forever, I think, learner. Not only, I want to share everything that's in my head with as many people as I can and touch as many people as I can to help pull them into how it felt. All of this was going on, and I again was judged pretty heavily, and I wrote a book about my life. And I went back to my intention, attention, no tension. People thought, oh my gosh, I did some things that I needed to do to survive. had a lot of fun. And because we're being open, I'm going to dare myself to share with the group. My book is called Open Wide, and I had an adult toy party, home party company that sustained me while I was cleaning teeth before I left clinical hygiene. And the book is funny. It's about a divorced mom. And I was offered an opportunity to write a screenplay based on the book. And everybody said to me, "You're out of your mind. What does a dental hygienist from Cleveland, Ohio know about writing a screenplay?" I didn't care. I forged ahead. I had two great collaborators that I worked with, and everybody kept saying, "What's happening with the screenplay?" Who cares? I wrote it. Nobody could ever take the fact that I authored a book and wrote a screenplay away from me. So I stand in that power, and the world will adjust. That's what I encourage people.
Mhm.
And we stop ourselves from doing things. And I have this conversation with my children often. And, fear is really what holds us back. And if I stayed in those limiting beliefs that I came from a divorce broken home, created a divorce broken home, was a single mom, only a dental hygienist. There's no only. Today, I'm lucky enough that I can blend my career, my professional career, into my spiritual career, because on this journey, spirituality became a major portion of my life. I believe The Secret. If any of you have not read the book or watched the movie, please do. It was pivotal to me. And moments in life where I think, Kelly, you said to me when we talked about this, what's an aha moment for you? One of my biggest aha moments in The Secret, there is a scene in The Secret where a woman is going to the mailbox and talking about getting bills. And do you go to the mailbox every day and think, "Oh shit, what bill is coming in? What am I going to have to pay? Am I going to be more in debt?"
Mhm.
Or do you go to the mailbox with a sense of abundance? It's all going to work out. And I remember my mailbox was outside. I managed to buy a little house for my children and I, walking to my mailbox every day going, "I got this. I got this." And that positive affirmation followed by actionable items got me to where I needed to get, and with zero regret. So that fear that we may talk about, or the disbelief that we have, that's where we bust through. And I love the acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
And that's that story, Kelly, you were talking about.
Yes.
So where do we go when that repeat? I think of an old now I'm going to age myself, a VHS that's on rewind, and you have to sometimes hit the pause button, pop that tape out, or go on demand, however we're doing it now. But you have to rewire what you want your life to look like and get very clear on that, and then release the attachment. My job right now, that's exactly what I did. I knew I wanted to have a job where I can use my dental knowledge, that I can touch people, work with make a difference in the lives of everybody I touch by sharing my knowledge. I've taken in a lot of really extensive retreat courses, as you mentioned, Joe Dispenza, who works with neuroplasticity and changing the thought processes in your brain. And I have done some Deepak Chopra retreats. I went through a women's leadership training, and constantly bringing in new modalities that I can not only improve myself, but share with the world and make things better. I love the lighthouse story. I don't know if anybody has heard the lighthouse story, but it's somebody, and I can't remember even where I heard this, but the lighthouse doesn't shine its light only when the boats are coming. And the lighthouse doesn't care if there's small boats, big boats, cruise ships. It shines the light. I want to be the lighthouse for people, and to attract those people like I attracted you, like you attracted me, Kelly, from the minute we met. People would think, "Oh, Heidi's a little out there. She's a tarot card reader. She may be a witch. She's into this woo-woo stuff." But in that woo-woo, I also have this professional side of me.
Mhm.
And I never feel like I am a split personality or I'm walking the same path.
Yeah.
And the same path is what I believe. So the after doing all of this and knowing that I'm sharing this, I didn't know how. And this job came to me that I'm currently working. I'm back in Cleveland, Ohio. I took a risk and left the city. Once my kids were grown, didn't work out. People laugh at me. Oh my gosh, you've moved 6 times in 2 years. Well, yeah, I did, but you're still stuck in the same spot. So how many of us are content in our lives
Yeah.
and aren't taking risks and are, I don't want to go to the grave thinking, shit, I should have. I want to go, I did. Maybe it didn't work out. It's a redirection.
Yeah.
You redirect, you pivot again, and you find yourself where you want to be. So currently today, I work for a dental robotic company. Cool, really high technology, took me to the next level. I am the business optimization manager, and I help people incorporate technology very much like Kelly. Our paths have been similar, yet not so similar, but we're both also on this spiritual journey. I'm currently in the process right now of becoming a happiness for no reason certified coach. So for all of you that are here today, if you are interested in more happiness in your life, DM me and I am going to send you a 21 ways to reset your happiness, a happiness reset. And again, it's part of what I want to share. And my story, I think if I would have to sit here and say to you, what is the one true thing that keeps coming up? And yes, every day I question, is this something I can do? Is this something that I want to put the action to? Because we can all manifest and we can all visualize and we can all affirm till the cows come home. But if it's not followed by action, and my dear friend Kelly has put me into action because I've been talking about doing this for about 2 years now. And I'm not lying, right, Kelly? And I'm not doing it. So
It's your journey. It's your journey. It's your story.
I'm embracing it again, like everything else that I do. So with a little witchy magic and a little woo-woo, I continue to hopefully leave people better today for have met me. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to, they're not going to take in what I'm throwing down, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop throwing it down.
So Heidi, you mentioned that, I'm just kind of reeling this back for just a moment because you were talking about the duality of working as a professional and then also being on your spiritual journey. And you're not like these two separate people. I feel like when you have leaned into your giftings, you have a intuition. You have a way of knowing and reading and being empathetic towards people and sensing in different ways, which I believe is a superpower. So do you feel like it helps you to know?
100%. 100%. And it goes back to that intention, attention, no tension. And what typically happens is our guts are so strong. And I believe every human being, every being having a human experience has an intuition, has a deep ability to have a gut reaction to something. And it comes in as a gut feeling, or we say a gut feeling, I feel it in my gut. And then your logical brain hijacks it and talks you out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, it's been a definite work. When the gut feeling comes in, I sit with it. I breathe into it. I feel into it. And you automatically know if something makes you feel expanded or contracted.
Mm-hmm.
And I am learning to lean into the expansion. It's no different with people, places, things, relationships. You have those feelings where you either lean in or you run away from. And I think that if I had regret in my life, it's the things I've run away from rather than leaned in. And I haven't leaned in and made the right choice many, many times. Again, those redirections are where I've learned the most. Your mistakes are what teach you the lessons you need to learn. So I have learned to trust my intuition, not worry what other people think about me. I love the 4 agreements. We've talked about that before. It's one of my favorite things. Probably a book. I think if I had to say one book every human being should read, that's it. And every day we have a chance to read, come in. So the duality that I feel, it's because I'm living my truth. And the more you live in your truth, the more purpose your life has, the more service you are in, the
Yes.
more it feeds your soul. And those soul feeding decisions that we make always, always are what,
That was
yeah,
so good. Soul feeding decisions. Oh, you lit me up on that.
goosebumps, baby.
And I'm like, soul feeding decisions. Lacey was saying on YouTube, she says, how many of us are actually content in the fear of not taking risks? We we become complacent, and it's happy and it's comfortable. It's like a little nest egg, and you just want to be there, and that's fine if that's for you. And sometimes, though, that can lead to struggle bus, right?
Yes,
That can lead
yes.
to struggle bus. So it,
Struggle bus. I love struggle bus. And struggle bus is something I think that we all go through moments in life, every one of us. We are beings having a human experience.
Mhm.
So choice is always there. And sometimes the easy choice is staying. You know, I look at your father's generation, Kelly, my parents' generation. My parents were a little different because they busted out of what was normal. But many people of the generation before us worked the same job for 50, 60, 70 years.
Yep.
I, I would have been it that to me that don't again it traps me in a box. I can't be in a box. I want to share my creativity. That's not to say that for the analysts out there or the people that are very comfortable in one space perfecting it, that doesn't mean they're not great at it. It just means that feeds their soul.
Mhm.
And it's not for everyone.
Yeah, it's wild because people, I mean, I was just thinking about my parents' era and your parents' era, and all the parents' eras. And even now, for folks who are our age, even older, I'm not going to get divorced because I don't know if anyone will ever love me. I don't know if it's all fear based, right? I don't know if I should take that job. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I think I'm too old. I think I'm this. We have to mind our words. We say these things to ourselves all day long. And I think, as a housekeeping item, that just that one trick of paying attention and doing your thought hygiene, speaking of
I
hygiene,
love the thought hygiene.
thought hygiene, what in the hell are you telling yourself every day? Aren't you supposed to be kind to yourself before? I mean, even the Bible says that.
And and even in the happiness, work that I'm doing right now, of the 80 million thoughts that run through our brain, I think it's actually 80,000. There's a huge number of thoughts that everyone has. 75% of those are negative. And
Mm,
we're on a negative repeat. We would never talk to our friends the way we talk to ourselves.
no.
And that's a struggle for me. I mean, it's a constant effort. And now that I have a word attached to it, it's going to be great. Thought hygiene. I love it. Clean your shit up, girl, because you got to keep it real. I mean, it's like we know that where we put our energy is where we're going to get a result. And if you're constantly in your head saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm content, I may not be happy, I may be drinking too much, I may be eating too much, I may be in a loveless relationship, I may be in a empty job, get up and change it, because you have the choice to make that difference. If you're okay with it, good. I could never be and will never be content. I want to embrace change every minute that I can. I really do. And I use a lot of different modalities to create change. I'm a big believer in practicing gratitude. Every day starts with gratitude practice, 3 things I'm grateful for. And I'm going to dare everybody to do this exercise.
There.
Right now, I am currently in the process for 21 days. I've been challenged to write 3 things down that I appreciate about myself.
Oh,
And you can't repeat it. So for 21 days, every day, 3 things you appreciate about yourself. And at the end of those 21 days, you are going to have an amazing list of attributes that you look at that you don't tell yourself, because we do stay in that negative self-talk loop. We're not worthy. We don't deserve love. We don't deserve whatever it is that we tell ourselves. It's just not good. So there's that. I practice that. I meditate. And as you know, Kelly, I am a tarot card reader.
mhm.
So I think this would be a good point in time. Let's see what you have right now going on.
Hard for me.
So I
Okay,
have my cards right here.
explain what tarot is to people and explain it.
So tarot is they're an ancient deck of cards. They've been around for centuries that were used to really guide you. I always say, I say a little prayer that I was just asked to repeat the 21-day challenge. Okay, let me do that before we get into tarot, Kelly. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So for 21 days, you are going to write down each day 3 things that you appreciate about yourself. So it could be an I am statement, or it could just be, today I appreciate the fact that I can disconnect and relax when I feel my body needs it. I don't apologize if I need to recharge my batteries. I recharge my batteries. And I never used to be that way. I ran, 100 miles an hour, like my ass was on fire, like the world. I was a Tasmanian devil. I don't do that anymore. The power of the pause. It is. I appreciate that about myself. So for 21 days, every day, 3 things you appreciate about yourself. And at the end of those 21 days, you're going to have a nice long list.
I love that.
And I actually shared it with my son today, who said to me, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're doing that, because my kids do not think I appreciate myself enough. I don't give myself the credit." And again, that's a lesson for us all. How are we showing up?
Mm-hmm.
What do people see us?
Yeah.
Am I that lighthouse?
Yeah. And, where it shows up, I think, for us in our small daily actions is that we'll drop something. And it's like, oh, I'm so stupid. Or I'm just, and like, I almost thought something like that the other day. And I said, Kelly, you're tired. Kelly, you're tired. You're not bad. What just happened wasn't bad. You're just tired. You just need rest. So sit down. And that's
something you should appreciate about yourself, that you have that inner awareness to say, okay, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to take a beat.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. So it'll be great, Kelly, when you do your next truth and dare, check in with those to see if they dared to do the 21-day challenge. I think it'll be great. And I'm going to encourage you to do it too. In fact, I'm probably going to call you next week and say, have you been writing?
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do it. I accept the dare. I accept it.
Beautiful. Okay.
So back to tarot. So the ancient ritual where it's guidance is what you were saying.
It's guidance. It's, so I always say it's either information, affirmation, or inspiration. And it is, not everybody believes in it. That's okay. It's not meant, people will say to me, oh, so I was challenged by a dear friend of mine, Sherry. I've been doing tarot readings and have been connected. I'm a seer, a medium, if you want to call it, for years, 30, 40 years. And I learned this, but I kept this gift to my friends, my family. I really didn't share it. And when COVID hit, she encouraged me to go online and start doing readings for people when they needed guidance. And the more readings I did and the more I connected, A, the stronger my intuition got, but B, it lights me up. To tap into somebody's energy when they allow me to, and to provide them information, affirmation, or inspiration, it feeds my soul. And I am a conduit of a message. That's all I really am. And Kelly, we've done a couple of these together, and Now you have your own decks, which I love. And a lot of people pull oracle cards every morning, angel cards. There is universal connection that I believe in. And we're going to see what the universe has in store for Miss Kelly Tanner, Dr. Kelly Tanner right now.
Okay, how do I get my energy on the deck? How do I do
I'm
it?
doing it right now. So I have stacked these in 3 different piles. There's pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Tell me how to stack them back up.
2 on 3.
Okay.
And then 3 on 1, and then the larger 1 on 1.
And now I want you to pick a number between 1 and 78.
55.
I'm going to go from the back of the deck because it's a big fat deck. And this is what the decks look like. I probably have 30 different tarot decks. So let's see what Kelly's energy is calling in today. 8, 6, what did you say?
55.
55?
Yes, this is vulnerable. This is like a live reading, Heidi. Talk about truth and dare.
Okay, I probably should have asked you if you wanted me to do a live reading instead of just boldly saying, "Oh, Kelly, we're doing a live reading."
Yeah,
See?
you have my permission.
Yeah, good. Well, I figured you would have stopped me. All right, so the card we pulled today is the 4 of Cups.
Okay.
And this is what the 4 of Cups looks like. Now, this 4 of Cups was the card for Kelly, and it is absolutely a perfect card for her. And it says, I see that the message of this is, I see the fullness and the richness in my life. So you are in a space right now where not only are you accepting your great gifts, you're sharing your great gifts, you're overflowing with abundance, and you are spreading the word. And you're living in your true spirit. And I believe that is 100% true for you. Cups are always hearts. And the woman in this card, you have a lot of stories behind you, but you are not your story. I am not my story. I am not Heidi, the hygienist that came from a divorced family, that had a divorce, that wrote a book, that did all of these, that sold dental implants. I am a spiritual being that's continuing to grow and evolve every day. And I encourage every one of you to reach in and do the same.
I created a little thing for you, Heidi. If you guys want to schedule a tarot reading with Heidi, you can go to her Insta account and you go to the link in the bio and schedule something there. She's amazing and on point, and she's one of my spiritual advisors, I would say.
As are you.
Yes.
As are you. So I want to see if anybody are there questions? And we've been asking for questions in the chat.
Let's see here. Let me hide this. I'm running the show literally back on the back end of here. We've had a few more folks join live. So if you have Q&A, now is your time to do that with Heidi. This is my first go at using this platform and doing all this. It's going off without a hitch, so it's wonderful. I was thinking, Heidi, too, there's a question that I was thinking about. Oh man, I lost it. So let's see. Here's a comment for you. And actually, hold on, I can do this differently. I can, boom. All right, just takes,
Look at that.
it takes a second for it to, oh, it's up top. 1 second, it's over the overlay. So it says, I've been receiving readings from Heidi for 5 years. Her energy is otherworldly, a truth and dare for your soul. I learned many valuable lessons through her. I'm so grateful for our connection. That's awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you. And it's been fun and it's been great. And, in the messaging and in the tarot, I'm always finding some coaching. I think once you become a coach and a life coach and making the decisions, and every time I add a new certification to my coaching, it takes me to a new group of people that I get to connect with. And connection is everything. And I think one more thing that I want to point out that I talked about just briefly, I want to talk about Kelly, if we have a little more time,
Oh, yeah, we
expansion
do.
and contraction. I
Yeah.
want to talk about what that energy really means and when something makes you feel expanded versus contracted. And it's something that we all can check in with very simply in our gut, not our brain, in our gut. And Kelly, I want to use you as an example if we can.
Mhm.
Okay. So I want you to close your eyes for me. I want you to take a deep breath in. And right now, I want you to think about having to be in a job for 8 hours, not having anything more than a lunch break, punching a clock, doing the same repetitive action over and over and over again every day. And tell me what you feel right now.
Mm. I feel like my whole body got small.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's do the same thing. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And I want you to picture yourself running 2 very successful live podcasts, being a wonderful coach, a professional speaker, reaching the masses, sharing your energy, your light, your love. I could see your face even got lighter as you're talking about it. How do you feel now?
Expansive.
And I ask you all to check in whenever you're making a decision. Does this feed my soul? Is this a soul decision? It doesn't mean it's not going to scare you. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's not going to have risk. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the right decision all the time. But when you listen to your soul, the universe intervenes and will help guide you exactly where you're supposed to be. And that's really what living your life purpose is about. I'm blessed to say that I am living my life purpose. I'm honored beyond to call you a friend, a soul sister.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to see where you go with this truth and dare.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. It's an honor to be with you and sharing our journey and all the above. I had another thought, but I'm just hanging on every word that you're saying. I want to listen, but I want to talk, but I want to listen. I mostly want to hang on every word you have to say.
I want you to talk now. I've been yapping away.
Oh my gosh, it's been enlightening. But here's the thing: the point, you all, is that this is in all of us. We are abundant beings. I got my thought back. What I was going to say is that what we're called to and what is in our heart is we can't ignore that, because what I found, and I don't know about you and the listeners too, if you guys want to type it in the chat, I find that when I have an idea and it's heart centered, I'll be like, maybe not now. I don't know about this. I can come up with the excuses. And then it goes year and year, sometimes month after month after month. And then it's like a little nagging thing going, why don't you do this? Why haven't you done it? Why haven't you done it? That is your soul's purpose. And you are not here. You're not going to go off the rails. Okay. Anything that is like that for you is meant to be lived out as part of your gifting. So you can't ignore that. You have to acknowledge it, see what it's about, explore it. Then one of the best ways that I found to do this is to journal about that feeling that I'm having, to say, okay, what is this really about? I keep having in my head to have this crazy podcast, and I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's about all these cool stories I'm hearing that I think other people need to know about for encouragement, to know that you're supported in your life and that you don't have to be held back by your, I mean, Heidi too, like growing up, I was in a family that we didn't have a lot of money. So it was, money didn't grow on trees. Money just doesn't do this. Watch your money, save your money, da da da. And money doesn't care what it's attached to. Money doesn't have a feeling. So we get to assign the feeling that we have to that.
Absolutely. And you can't take it with you when you go.
Yeah. It's abundant. I feel like everything that we wants us right back.
Oh, I love that. Everything we want wants us right back. That's a good one.
Because it's the vibration.
Right.
It's the vibration, and you will get it back.
Setting those intentions is so important, and then releasing any expectation of how it's going to come, just knowing that you are going to work hard to get what you want. There has to be action. Like I said, we can't just wave a magic wand. Boy, that would be nice. I would actually be a genie in a bottle if I would rather be that, but uh, you can't just wish it. You have to, right, exactly. You have to tap into what you can tap into.
Yeah, it's and Lacey says we get to assign the feeling to our resources. We are always that choice to do that. We get to call it how it is. And that's where the belief comes from. That's where the truth is. And when you get down to it, it's sometimes I would make excuses for some things. And I'm like, okay, Kelly, what's the truth? What's the real truth here? I would have these talks out loud with myself. And that's what led me to this. And then also the book I'm writing. What's the real truth? Well, the truth is you don't really want to do it. Okay. Glad we found that. Okay.
Right.
That's going to save me a lot of years. And all right. So if
Yep.
you don't want to do it, what are you going to tell them? Well, you tell them you're not interested, but thank you. And refer them to someone else. Refer
Right.
them to someone else or another resource that they can for someone whose heart who's in it for that.
Listen, you did it with your relationship.
Mm,
You know, I mean, I've been single for a long time. And I know that when I'm truly opened to that coming in, the right relationship will find me as it did for you.
yeah. Yeah. I just made room for it in my mind, in my closet, my physical space. I tell the story sometimes where Bo, my 13-year-old, was like, Mom, where's my toothbrush? And I'm like, it's not. And she's like, I was like, it's over here on the dresser. And he's like, why'd you move it there? I was like, I'm making space for my boyfriend. He's like, have you lost it? He's like, are you dating? I'm like, no, I'm just attracting it. And he's like, okay, Mom.
Yeah. You know, listen, and it's, I think about it like this when we talk about our kids. They have lived with us their entire lives. So how lucky. I wish that I would have had this when I was 20 and 30 and started
Yeah.
my career. You know, my son will call me up and he'll be like, he'll probably kill me now that I'm saying this live on this, but you know, hey mom, would you pull a card today? My daughter too, the same thing. It literally, it sets a call to action or a call to retraction. It sometimes can be, but it's yeah, they've lived with this and it opens their mind.
Yeah. It's the curiosity.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Lacey says she's
I
making
love Lacey. Keep making that space. I love that. She's making space in her
Queen.
bank account.
Make that space, girl.
That is great. Well, Kelly, I'm going to let you wrap up. I know we're getting close, right? Or can we keep going?
We can keep going for a few minutes. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
You guys. This is the first time we're doing this, so there's no rules, right? There's no
I love
rules.
it.
But I mean,
I love it.
so what I was gonna say too, Heidi, and I know that your happiness coaching. So my coaching is coming out on my website. I'll put something here, but I already have some coaching that's there that I'm going to be putting out. I have Danielle Laporte's stuff, that her desire mapping that I've already recorded. I recorded 5 years ago. And this is what I'm talking about, that I didn't put it on my website. I'm daring myself to do it. It's already done. It's
There you
already
go.
that. And then some other stuff I've recorded with live sessions about having your best year ever. But it's about keeping people in not just an abundance mindset, but alignment with their lives and how to get truly anything that you want. And
Yep.
that sounds hocus pocus, but I'm telling you, for real, you can have anything that you want, right?
For real, for real. And we have to just really put it out there the way that it's meant and intended for us and stay clear in the vision and not attach that, you know, when is it coming? The universe will provide when it's ready to provide, not in your time, but in the universe's time.
Yep.
And that's the part. Be open for it and watch for it. How many times do people pass up opportunities that they're so busy running, going, they're not pausing to take a moment and really check in with themselves, would save us a lot of angst. And I think you said something that resonated with me that I wanted to comment on, that oh, like you, I lost it went out the window. I don't remember.
It'll come back.
It'll pop back in my head. I
Yeah.
think the coaching portion of it. So, and my website will be up and running as well very, very soon. And the happiness for me, the happiness coaching, how the beautiful person that I'm learning this from, it's called Happiness for No Reason. She is delightful, Marcy Shimhoff, and I say her name wrong every single time, but it's a program that I will be bringing to the masses in group coaching sessions on how to really incorporate more happiness in your life, how to reset your happiness, how to get rid of what you're genetically programmed for. As you said, Kelly, the attachment that we are told to put on things, the negativity sometimes that our parents, they don't know any better, or that people around you. And I have weeded my garden aplenty. I don't have time for the negative energy zappers anymore. I'm very, very particular where and when I share my energy, because people will tend to gravitate and try to suck the life out of you if you let them.
Yeah. Boundaries are a big deal. Healthy boundaries.
Yep. Very true.
So people can go to, let's see, I have something else up here for you too. Here's the giveaway again. If you wanted to go to Heidi's Instagram, there's her Instagram account, 21 ways to reset your happiness. She'll send that to you if you just DM her happiness. But Heidi, you have been such a blessing in my life, and I'm just so glad to call you my friend.
And back at you, me too. Mwah.
Yeah.
This has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you for sharing your journey. And if you'll just sit backstage, I'll be with you in just a moment, my friend. If you guys want to get to know Heidi, you can find her on Instagram, and then also the name of your website. It's
HeidiDubois.com. It should be live by the end of the week.
Okay. Yay. You mean tomorrow?
Oh my goodness. It better be. It better be. That's all I have to say.
On the tomorrow.
Thank you all for joining. We loved having you. And Kelly, I am honored to be your first guest. And I'm so looking for, and I hope this is not my last time on the show, but hoping to, knowing this is going to explode and be great. So I'm glad everybody's willing to accept the dares. And I'm sure, Kelly, you have another dare you're going to set out there.
I don't know. Dare to be you. Like, dare to question.
Love that.
Dare to ask questions. If something doesn't set right in you, say, what's the truth? Like, if you feel about that, if someone cut you off, what's the truth? Well, the truth is that I didn't leave in time to get there. That I'm just really angry about something else. My brother has great road rage. I know he's probably listening. Maybe he's not. But I'm happy. But dare to just be truthful with yourself. We'll start there. And hygiene, thought hygiene.
I love thought hygiene. That's my new word.
You can use it.
I love it.
All right, my friend. I will see you in just a moment. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
To all of the listeners, thank you so much for being here the first time for Truth and Dare. If you want to give me a comment in the chat, tell me how often. Christine says, yes, what's the truth? The truth of the matter is dare to be you, dare to question yourself too. But as we go along, we're going to be administering more dares. And how often do you guys think we should have this? I'm thinking twice a month. Right now, I wanted to get one in May. So tell me in the comment section. I'll be watching for it even after it's not live anymore. How often you think we should do this? And here's the cool part is that we're not overthinking this. We are not doing a bunch of prep work. We are just being authentic, real. Again, this is the first time I've even used this software today. So here we are. It was just a Hail Mary just to get the message out there so it will keep getting better and better and better. So if you have any suggestions for how often you would want to watch us, let me know. Twice a month, Christine says. And Christine, it's so nice to see you. Twice a month. Okay, cool. It's going to be on Thursdays if we do that. Thursdays around 7 Eastern Standard Time. That's usually a good day. So I was like, once or twice. I do have a magic 8 ball that I'll bring in to kind of play around with. But dare to be you, my friends, and keep following your heart on what you want in your life. It is vitally important that we do that. The things that have been placed on our heart are are for us, they are what guide us, guide our passions, and they lead to the ultimate truth of who you are. So if something doesn't settle right, if something is like, I don't know if I believe in that, think about if it's really true for you. So be well, my friends. Love you. Love to each of you. Like, subscribe, share to my YouTube channel, which will be working next time. It is the Dr. Kelly Tanner YouTube channel. So YouTube at Dr. Kelly Tanner will be streaming live on there, and there are more shorts and excerpts there. And then head on over to my website, be doing some coaching, join the newsletter, and I will see you again, my friends. Much